Okay, first question. Who's going to tell Culture? Who's going to help me tell Culture that the amount of screen time that Kola gets in a day, he can't even smell it. He can't even smell it. Who's going to tell Culture? Who's going to tell Culture that the amount of drama Kola dishes out in a day, the amount of trends that Kola pulls in a day, he doesn't even get half of it? Who's going to tell Culture? And you see, guys, this is the problem. This is the problem with some of these Big Brother housemates, not just about this season, but even any other season. This is the problem they have. They've watched this show so much to the extent that they think they know it all. And yeah, to some extent, I do not really blame them, especially for someone like Culture. I do not really blame him, Culture thinks, and I say this because of, listening to the conversation he had with Zita and Tracy, right? Culture thinks he knows what works on the show. Probably because of how it's been in previous seasons, right? He thinks he knows what works on the show. Listening to him empathize with Kola, telling Tracy and Zita that he wishes he could become head of house so that he can give Kola more screen time. And how he intends to do that is he's going to choose Kola as his deputy. The housemates call it deputy, but the production team, they call it guest, right? So as a guest, you get to spend time in the head of house lounge. As a guest, head of house could read a brief and then hand it over to you to reread for the whole house to hear. All of those things, and also delegate tasks to you to carry on as assistant head of house. So that's what he means. So he was saying that the way he intends to do it is, if he wins head of house, he's going to choose Kola as deputy, and then he's going to deputize roles and tasks to Kola, especially when it comes to brief. He's going to be giving the brief to Kola to come out and read, so that the cameras are going to be on Kola. That because a lot of times it feels like the only screen time that Kola gets is when Kola dresses up in his fine attires, and then he stands in front of the mirrors, and then he's admiring himself, and it feels like that's the only screen time that Kola gets. And you see, listening to Culture, it was so ridiculously hilarious, because I am looking at this guy and I am thinking, dude, what makes you think that Kola does not get screen time? What makes you think? And then he went on to say that and that is why anytime Kola says something, he repeats what Kola said, or he tries to amplify it so that it will trend. I was looking at this guy and I'm like, in your mind, you're a genius. You are repeating what Kola says or does so that it will trend. In your mind, you are the savior. In your mind, you are Kola's helper. Olodo. Let's just call it pure ignorance. Culture, by saying all of those things, just literally exposed his ignorance. And the way he was saying it with so much confidence, talking about, this is my opinion, this is my perception. Because Tracy was dumbfounded. And Tracy was asking him, like, do you know that everybody gets their own screen time in this house? Zita too said, well, it depends on what you're doing. So, hey God. Tracy made a valid point. That look at Victory that was doing the most. Victory was evicted last week. So what makes you think you have to do the most to still remain in the house? And Culture was like, like I said, it's my opinion. Like I said, it's my perspective. I said, Oga, like I said, shush it. Shush it. Because you could tell that where his so-called perspective was stemming from, it's coming from the angle of, it is only people that are dramatic. It's only people that fight a lot. It's only people that make a lot of noise. It's only people that, just do the most obvious things in the house that actually get a lot more screen time. And it also went to show that Culture was completely oblivious to things happening around him, because he is so stuck up in his own game, obviously, which is not really a bad thing, right? But because he's so stuck up in his own game, he doesn't really realize that there's actually a lot going on around him. There's a lot happening around him. So the fact that he gave such an analysis to Kola's situation in that house, guys, it was so funny to me because when you think about it, it's the absolute reverse. The case is the absolute reverse. Kola is one housemate that almost gets the most screen time. When he's with Dede, cameras are on him. When he's with Imisi, cameras are on him. When he's having a conversation with Bright, cameras are on him. When he's having a conversation with Mide, cameras are on him. And the guy is very strategic. Because when you have just one person you talk to in the house, the cameras might find you boring because your conversation might be boring. But when you are everywhere, and when you have the kind of drama that Kola has in that house, there's no way the cameras will not be on you, because the camera definitely wants to capture your conversations, and give updates to us, the viewers. Keep us abreast of situations. And that is the advantage that Kola has above the likes of Tracy, above the likes of Kuture. If you remember in previous weeks when Kuture always had one gossip or the other to spread around the house, Kuture was also getting a lot of screen time because it was actually bringing something to the show. It was giving us content. And so listening to Kuture in that conversation, the one thing that kept on ringing in my head was, who's going to tell this guy? Who's going to tell this guy? Because there you are thinking, oh, I'm just going to be a good person and help Kola. And then again, and you see, guys, there's something I've actually noticed. Let me even tell you all now, yeah? There's something I've noticed. I feel like some of these housemates, it's like they've actually forgotten why they're in this big brother's house. It's like they've forgotten why they are there. Because Kuture especially, when he has his diary session, if he's not talking about how much he has suffered, how much his family has suffered, he's hyping up his friend Rude Boy. His last diary session, that was exactly what he was doing. Saying a lot of nice things about Rude Boy, talking about, oh, the guy is a Jesus, saying a lot of nice things. And I'm not saying the housemates should not give accolades to whom accolades is due, but you cannot overhype your fellow housemate, because you're kind of indirectly mobilizing fans for that person. You cannot do it too much. You can be gracious, but not excessively gracious. And Kuture knows how to be excessively gracious to fellow housemates. So, for real, yeah, that guy just literally expressed the level, the height of his ignorance in that conversation last night. And I would love to know what you all think about it. So please go ahead and share your thoughts in the comment section below. Okay, now moving on to the conversation between Faith, Tracy, Zita, and Rude Boy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure Tracy would have been having sleepless nights over that conversation, because Faith read her like a book. He left no stone unturned about her personality and the way she behaves in friendships. And ladies and gentlemen, listening to that conversation, I could attest to it as true to some extent. I'm not going to call it a fact because I'm not inside that house with the housemates, right? But based on my observations, my experience of these housemates' personalities, their characters, and their behavioral patterns, ladies and gentlemen, I put it to you that everything that Faith was saying was absolutely true about Tracy. Now, he was giving reasons why he could not be friends with Tracy. Now, the likes of Zita, who sometimes does not listen, has a listening problem, was sort of agitated. Why would you say such a thing now? You're not supposed to say something like that. Rude Boy too. No, you should not be saying that type of thing. Why would you say that type of thing? So Faith was trying to let these people understand that, listen, I'm not saying this out of malice. This is not malice. I'm not being malicious about it. No, I don't hate her. I'm not angry with her, but I'm just telling you what it is. And I hope people will listen to me so that I can explain. And then they say, okay, fine, explain. Now, Faith explained that two things had actually happened that has given him a bad impression about how Tracy behaves in a friendship situation. Now, I'm not really sure about what the first thing was, but then the second thing, guys, I knew, like, it was live. We saw it. So he had referred to the situation he had with Gigi Jasmine. I'm trying to recall if it was Tracy that was the head of house that week, because I think that week Tracy was she was very selfish. She was a very selfish head of house. I don't care about anybody. I don't care about what people do. Yeah, I think Tracy was the head of house, because there were a lot of things that even happened. Even Sultana had her own encounter with Tracy. Like, somebody would be complaining that, oh, I want to eat, and she'd be like, I don't care, just get food. Like, Tracy was very, very selfish with the way she handled people in the house. So, according to Faith, the second thing was the episode with Gigi Jasmine. If you all recall that evening where the housemates had a sponsor task, and Gigi Jasmine had been the one to trigger a fight between herself and Faith. But because she's a sweet person, she talks the way she talks, she cries a lot, she does all this, and you know what I mean? The way she talks and all of that manipulative bullshit that she does. The whole house instantly pointed fingers at Faith when he retaliated. She triggered the fight. Faith retaliated. And then she started screaming and yelling, get him away from me! Get him away from me! Oh my goodness! Oh my God! Even called Faith a leprechaun. But ashamed Faith. But the whole house were deaf to the hurtful things, the derogatory things she had called Faith. Where everybody was blaming Faith. Now, what really pained Faith was Tracy had come to him in the guise of wanting to hear his own side of the story. But she had come with the stance of, I know you are at fault. I know it's your fault because you are an instigator. You are very provocative. So according to Faith, you cannot just come to me like that. You don't know what happened, or let's say you actually know the truth, but you already have a perception about me that I am an instigator without even hearing my own side. And Tracy was busy trying to defend herself. But I love the fact that Faith stuck to his guns, because he kept on laying it bare to her. That no, I'm not angry at you. I'm just telling you what I have observed about how you handle issues, when you're in a friendship situation. And here is where he actually hit the nail on the head very painfully for Tracy. So he has said to Tracy that the kind of person she is, when she is friends with someone, because of how highly she holds friendship dearly to her heart, when she is friends with someone, it doesn't matter what anybody does, whether the other person is innocent or not. If that friend threatens her, he used Zita as an example in that situation. He said, if that friend threatens you, that they're going to end their relationship with you if you do not tell them a life and death secret that another person has shared with you, you are the kind of person that would rather share that secret other than lose that friendship. Tracy was like, no, you cannot say that because I have morals, I have values. You don't know the kind of person I am. Ladies and gentlemen, when Faith said that, I said yes. Right on, doctor. Because, ladies and gentlemen, that is nothing but the truth. Things have happened in that house, and when you look at how Tracy reacts, you just know that this one, she's the type of person that can die on top of a friendship. When things have happened between Faith and certain people, you will notice that those persons, in a way, Tracy wants to be friends with those persons. So it seems like they've been having conversations, right? I think it even happened in that culture situation, the whole cigarette situation. She wants that situation so bad. I remember she's been crying that, she's lonely in the house. She wants her own people. She wants her own person. So things like that have happened. And for Tracy, it doesn't really matter if the other person is right or not. For her, she must protect her friendship. So according to Faith, he has studied her. And for him, he cares less. Like, he cannot be bothered enough to want to invest his emotions into being friends with Tracy because of those things that she does. And guys, you see here, listening to how Faith explained it all, it made so much sense, because it started bringing back a lot of scenarios that happened in the house. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is actually true. This is actually true, So as much as Tracy was trying to defend herself, claiming that no, Faith cannot say this and that about her, Faith actually had a solid point. So, ladies and gentlemen, I leave it to you. I would love to hear your thoughts about this. What do you think? Share in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys on another video. Thanks for watching. Have an amazing day. Bye.